Lesson 13 is we're going to use a scaling factor for Module 4. So we're going to start by looking at this where it says find the products of the expressions. And I'm going to notice that the factors, one of the factors in every single problem is a 12. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what I'm multiplying it by. So I'm multiplying it by 4/4. And I want to know if my answer is going to be equal to 12 inches, less than 12 inches, or greater. When I look at this, 4/4 is equal to 1. So it's just like saying 1 times 12 inches. So I know that it's going to be equal because the fraction that I'm using is equal to 1. The fraction I'm using is equal to 1 because it's the same number in the numerator and the denominator. So in this case, if I actually simplified it out, I would end up with 48/4, which is the same thing as 12. And I see that the 12 matches 12. So now if I look at the next one, when I look over here, I look at this is less than 1. Since this is less than 1, the whole thing will be less than 12. And I can check this out also, and I can multiply it straight across. The answer is 9, and yes, 9 is less than 12. Next one, I look at 5/4. That is greater than 1 because it's an improper fraction. And when I have an improper fraction that's greater than 1, it tells me my answer is going to be greater than the number that I am multiplying by. And I also, for this one, can check, and I end up with 60/4. And when I divide 60 divided by 4, I end up with 15, and I see that 15 is, in fact, greater than 12. So here's another set of examples, this time with fractions. I'm going to look through, and I see that 1/3 is the same in every single one. So I'm going to check the other numbers. I have 4/4, and since 4/4 is equal to 1, this will be equal to 1/3, because it's just like saying 4/4 is just like saying 1 times 1/3. And if I multiply that out and then simplify, I see that it is equal. And I should have written equal beforehand. When I look at 3/4, I see that this is less than 1, so I know my answer will be less than 1/3. And when I multiply it out and simplify, I see I end up with 1/4, and in fact, 1/4 is less than 1/3. When I look over here, I have 5/4, which is an improper fraction because the numerator is greater than the denominator. So I know that my answer will be greater than 1/3. And my answer will be 5/12. Next one. Sometimes, because of commutative property, I can go in any direction. It doesn't matter with multiplication. This time I have 1/2 is in the front. That's what everything that matches. So I look at 5/5, that's equal to 1, so my answer will be equal to 1/2. In fact, I'm correct. Next one, I have 3/5, which is less than a whole, so my answer will be less than 1/2. When I multiply it, I apologize. When I multiply it out, I get 3/10, which is in fact less than 1/2. And on the last one, I have 9/5. The 9 is greater than the 5, so it's improper. So because it's an improper fraction, I know it will be greater than 1/2. And in fact, 9/10 is greater than 1/2. And here's an example, a couple of examples from the problem set, so that will help you with your homework. So they want me to figure out the missing numbers, so I have to figure out what goes here. If I am going to take 7 and I end up with an answer that is less than 7, then my fraction has to be less than a whole. To make it less than a whole, it has to be less than 4/4. So my answer could have been 3/4. It could be 2/4. It could be 1/4. They're all less than 4/4. Another example over here, 7 out of something, when I multiplied 15 by it, is greater than 15. In order to make a number greater than 15, I have to multiply something that is an improper fraction because I need greater than 1. So 7/6 would be improper, 7/5, 7/4, I could be 7/3, 7/2. Those are all improper. And then over here, I want to find, I have 3, something that would make it equal to 3. I want this to be equal to 1, so it would have to be 5/5. Next, this time it wants me to fill in these inequalities, but I need to use the same single fraction on all 3 of the blanks. So all of these are saying greater. And if I want to find something that is greater, I need to use an improper fraction. So I can write any improper fraction. Improper means the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So I can write 6/2. That's what I chose to do, but I have to just do the same thing on each one. If I chose, I could write 9/4. As long as it's improper, the answer will be greater. And then down here, this time I want them to be less. If I want them to be less, it just has to be a regular fraction, so I'm going to choose to use 1/2. As long as it's a regular fraction. And that's using some scaling factors to help us.